Hi, everybody, and hi, my beautiful cosmic sister and co-host and wonder and unique and special person, Corinne Mooney, all the way from Arizona. And I'm all the way from Sweden today, from Stockholm, and it's cold here. Don't come here. It's cold. So, welcome everybody again. And today we have Wednesday, February 19th. In the US and Europe, and Thursday, February 20th in Australia. We keep saying that, right? You are watching Cosmic Sister Show with host Anne and Corrine. And today we are going to dive straight into an exciting topic, era of evolution, navigating the times of transformation. And we will talk about personal, spiritual, and a little bit of worldly things around that, right? So you can find all past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. Read about Kareen at angelplaceonearth.com/Kareen, or go to her website. That is, I should know this by heart by now. It's, I'm getting stuck here, sorry. It's, oh my goodness, liquidenergyhealing.com. Plus, if you are in Mesa, Arizona, you can call Corinne and book a session or something with her. And we're going to talk about a few things that she has upcoming still. You can call her at 480-250-1815 or email her at lqenergy@yahoo.com. And just to mention, because we just finished up a series, a four-part series plus a summary around the four agreements. And it's actually worthwhile to listen to because it's about very easy things that we can use in our daily life to pay attention to
Yes,
grow and develop ourselves, right?
correct.
And Corrine is actually going to have workshops, upcoming workshops around the four agreements plus for couples. So I'm going to put it up here. The four agreements workshop is going to be on February 23rd. That is just a few days from now. It's Sunday. And the couples play date is on March 2nd. Everything will happen in Mesa, Arizona. Small classes in person, very intimate in the way that you can be seen and heard and you can really feel that you are interacting. That's important because it's an important thing. The couples play date is another topic would be take your relationship from fine to fantastic. So it is for couples to grow and develop in their relationship and find each other. And sometimes during long relationships, because the world gets to us, there's a tendency sometimes that we lose track. So this is a good way of finding back to each other. And of course, the Four Agreements Workshop is going to be a few hours packed with information and things to do and some homework and everything good around that, right?
Correct. Correct.
Correct. And let me see. Yeah, our last show on Cosmic Guardians and Cosmic Sisters was last Wednesday, and we did actually talk about the Four Agreements summary. So if you haven't seen all the series, it's 4 parts plus the summary, 5 videos. You can find all past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming-past. So I think I talked a lot about everything. And I want to mention something more. We are still having a break with Bob Eden, the Spiritual Mechanic Show, and it's going to take a little bit of a while yet. So I just want to give a heads up for that. And yeah, if you want to connect with us and information or read articles, upcoming shows, past episodes, everything on that page. You can also find us at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. Well, I think it's time to dive into today's topic, right?
Yes. Yes. So we're going to go into an evolution and work into what we're going to talk about, right?
Yes.
That's interesting that we came up with this subject because we begin this journey of evolution actually in the stars, and then in the oceans, and on the land, and in the air. And we evolve through pain and pleasure, through tragedy and triumph. And this gives us the ability to walk upon the earth, to do the things that we do. And through this accumulation, we absorb information around us. So there's constant physical changes, emotional awareness. And all of this is preparing us for our upcoming life in this wonderful, wonderful world.
Yeah.
And we
Um,
really are. Yes, go ahead.
we have someone here. I'm just going to say someone watching, and he's saying, Tristan is saying there are 5 agreements.
Oh, they're more than that.
Yeah.
There are a lot more. Thank you very much. But when he originally came out with the book, the 4 are going to get you started. But then when you mature enough, that 5th one, is really really there to get you going. So thank you for that observation. And he has written so many books. He's written them on being able to navigate love and self mastery. So it's not just a 4-timer, but you need the foundations before you can really start making change.
Yeah, that's it's but I think it's like when you are teasing someone to bring them in and you give them the 4 and then the rest is coming. Because when you start with something, it's like the Celestine prophecy, the
That's
insights. There are
that's
so
right.
many.
Well, the 5th agreement didn't come out until quite a while after he had written the 4 agreements. So, but it there again, it's evolution, evolving.
Yeah, okay.
And
Yes.
and if you it's like when a baby starts crawling, and then they start walking, and then they start talking, they are evolving into becoming a person that can take care of themselves. But if you eliminate any of the things, the climbing, the crawling, it actually hinders their ability to make adjustments and to navigate when they get older. So there again, it's the process,
Yeah,
evolution.
evolution. Isn't it funny? And that's exactly what we're talking about today. I think this fits very well because when we dig into stuff, I'm just going to mention this and then we can go to the topic. We are learning things, we pay attention, we grow, and we transform, right?
Yes,
It's like the caterpillar to the butterfly.
correct.
And when we are wanting, we have the intention of stating that I want to work on myself, I want to become aware. That transformation is continuously happening. So we are evolving
Mhm.
personally, right?
Yes.
But we have different kinds of evolutions. Like we have the world, society, depending on where we are. We have the family, we have the personal one, we have the spiritual one,
Mhm.
right?
And without without having the foundations from the one we just moved through, it we don't have anything to build on, because when you have an experience, and whether it is what we consider successful or consider a failure, we have still learned 100% from that experience. So you really appreciate the fact, and I'm going to take this quote from someone else, getting a black belt in failure as well as success, because
Yes.
that gives you something to build on. And that's the transformation. The transformation is being aware, not that you have faults, but that you say, okay, this attribute that I bring to the world, I would really like to enhance it. And I would like to find more about it and go into it in that realm rather than, oh, that's something I've got to eliminate, or I'm a bad person or whatever. So it's a beautiful way to gently
Yeah.
move from the stars to the star being that we are.
Yeah. And you know, there's no such a thing as failure on the path of evolution, because if we are not trying things, and coming back to the four agreements, the four ones, right?
Correct.
Always do your best. That's the last one we talked about. So my best may mean that I may actually try something and I don't succeed for 10 times, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue, and I eventually I will succeed, right?
Correct.
So there's a way of seeing that, and that's about perception, how we see things, right?
Yes.
Am I a failure because of me not succeeding the first times? No, I'm not. And if we don't try things, how can we move forward? How can we?
That's exactly right. If we don't rethink our values, even our beliefs, and one thing that when I'm speaking to some of my students and they say I believe, and I said a belief is 99% of someone else's opinion.
Yeah,
It is when you have a knowing that you know that you are able to make these changes. And when we do rethink all of these things, we start dreaming a different dream. And this resonates with our soul, and it's creating the time to be still so we can be in connection with our soul. And it's also listening to what our needs and desires are to make that next stage in evolution.
yeah, it is. It is. And you know, it's interesting because each time in our, if we think of our journey here as a timeline journey, so a few hundred years ago, we had other challenges to go through, right? So navigating through um, transformations and everything on a personal spiritual level may at certain times have been more challenging than other times, right? But each and every time has their own challenge. So
Exactly.
in essence, the personal transformation is all about um, listening within, connecting with you, because we don't have a gazillion truths actually when we are digging inside. We are connecting out there, going within, and that's where we find peace and truth.
Yes. Well, having a willingness to take that step and follow through, and it's not comfortable because we want familiar around us, and that's why sometimes you step out and then you kind of go back a little bit. You're not going backwards, you're just taking a breather. And it takes a lot of courage and resilience and determination and awareness to just keep on going and give yourself a pat on the back when you need it. Take the time to sit quietly when you need it. But the point is that you are able to see the progress that you're making and
Mhm.
adapt to it. And that is the beauty about all nature is they adapt and they make changes in order to survive. And
Yeah,
I mean, it happens all the way down to bacteria and viruses. And that's why we keep chasing them because they learned how to adapt and make changes a lot quicker than we did.
exactly. They are maybe faster than we are sometimes, right? And we say, sorry for the word now, heck, what's happening here?
Yes.
But it's never, it's also to having a personal evolution and having navigating through it and transforming. That's a deeply personal journey. No matter if we are connected to everything else, even if things are changing with each and every time
Huh?
frame we are living in, right?
Yes.
Because no one can do it for us. No one can do it for us.
And those who are not able to grow and evolve, this is when relationships kind of come to an ending because one person is evolving and the other person says, no, I like the status quo. I'm not going to change. I'm going to this and this. And that's when there comes a difference of opinion. And being able to dive deep and basically really go in and see how much neglect or what you want to do. You can't just take a coat of paint and put it over a house that hasn't been cleaned and taken care of because it's going to crumble.
Exactly. No, it is not going to. The personal evolution and transformation, that's, you can't kind of cheat with yourself in that sense, right? Because
Correct.
just covering a house with new paint without doing the groundwork, that is cheating, right? So
Yes.
if you want to take the fast track, that's probably not going to help because at some point you're going to find yourself. I call it as a T crossing, right? A T.
Yes.
You can't continue forward in the way you have been doing, right? You need to make a choice there.
Correct.
And it can be either yes or no to something, right? But you need to make a choice. And usually that happens when people are feeling that I can't continue the path I'm on. I need the change. But then we have fear kicking in, right? And fear stopping us. What if? Because I know what I have, but I don't know what's going to be, and maybe I'm losing that opportunity. But that is a choice how we see things, how we respond to it, right? Because in my sense, we can never fail because we are always continuing forward.
Correct.
And
And
each and every transformation is going to bring us like birthing a new version of ourselves.
correct. I love the way that you use the what if. Uh, and I have a little trick or a little solution to that. Instead of the what if I do that, uh, I'm going to lose this. If I do that, things won't be the same. What if you turned that around and said, if I make a change, I'm going to see another direction. If I take this opportunity, I'm at least going to have that education. If I take this journey, I don't know what's out there. And put that if from a from a staying stagnant to possibilities. And there again, this is where the mind comes in. And you have to tell the mind that you are in control. And it can't just what if you into doing nothing because you're going to
Exactly.
change it into what if we do this,
Yeah.
you know?
And there's so many people I talk to that are asking, what's going to come for me, right? But what happens is that we know what we have been going through. That is our past. We do best if we actually take the lessons with us, the learning only, and leave the other stuff. So we work through that,
Leave the
right?
pain, yes.
Yeah. So we have released that. But we actually, this very moment, we do create the future because we have choices, so many choices, no matter what we have been choosing in the past. There's always new possibilities and different choices to make. But our thing is that we don't know. So that is where the what if comes in, right? Um, but it's if we go with what we sense, this is if I could feel free and pick and choose and being a little bit courageous, I walk with or take what I want to really do, and I feel some passion about it. It's fun because we also need to bring in some fun into our lives, right?
Correct.
Right?
Yes. I mean, I love one of these sayings that says, "Bless the mess and then get on with it." You know, uh, and if you bless the mess that you're leaving and say, "Thank you for getting me to this point," it gives you another perspective of seeing that the opportunity just got you prepared
Right.
for not doing that same behavior. And Einstein always says when you keep doing the same thing and expect different results, that's kind of the sign of crazy. Uh, so each time you do something and you get a different result, keep doing it until you get the result that is going to be satisfactory and prosperous for you.
Yeah. And sometimes people are holding on to things for a very long time. You could call it planning, right? So I can plan and I can think and I can wish for, I want so many different things. But what at some point on that journey, you need to take the first step.
Mhm.
And a very common excuse is, well, I'm not good enough, or I don't have all the um, what I perceive for myself. I don't have all the education, or I don't know enough, or whatever it is. But as far as you long for something and you want to make a change, there's always a way forward. And it's not about only planning and thinking and affirming and praying for something. That's not going to help. We need to take some action as well, right? If
Yes.
that's a baby step, that's perfect because it's the first step.
And it's interesting that our ego, uh, not our true feeling of ourselves, self love is so totally different than ego. But we assume that we can make everything and keep it status quo. And, like, for instance, gathering up a lot of food preparation. And I'm going to be prepared. So if anything comes, I'm going to have all the toilet paper I need. I'm going to have everything, that I need. However, we have no control over what is reality. We have no control over coming home one day and seeing your house burned down, or a flood, or a volcano going off. We think we do, and the little things that we do to be seemingly that we're in control, that give us a little bit of satisfaction for that moment. And when we get out of the ego and we understand that we will be able to adapt, we have the ability to overcome, we have the resilience, we have the courage. So if a relationship, for instance, is heading in a way that it's going to split, work on it. And if that doesn't work, then be willing to say, that didn't work, and let it go.
Yeah.
And don't keep hanging on to the, but if I had done this better, if I'd done that better, if he had this, if he had that, you can't make progress. Can you imagine what would happen? Let's take a virus, and the virus gets into the body and says, oh, I'm so happy with this. And then that body decides to take something that's going to kill the virus. And the virus says, oh, what am I going to do now? I'm destroyed. But then it says to itself, oh, that's okay. I can create another arm. I can create another this. I can divide. I can do this. If you want to bring it on, baby. And that's what evolution is.
Yeah.
Evolving into loving ourselves, trusting ourselves, and giving your ego a couple of dollars to go to the movie. Well, actually, it's a lot of dollars nowadays, but you know, get it out of the house. Say, you go over there and you do that. If I need you, I'll call you. But in the meantime, I'm in charge.
Yeah. And it's about also being able to determine between what I call worldly conventions,
Uh huh.
things we are being brought up with, that are all over the globe. Maybe slightly different depending on where we come from, family, country, you name it. So is that really me? Do I feel in alignment with that thing? Or is it something I have been taught, right? What are my really big and sacred values? Because usually um, when we think of things, someone who says that, well, I have 100 very dear values. Yeah, but maybe some of them are opinions. Do you really need all of those, right? Are they going to bring you easiness in your life? Or are they going to help you move forward? Are they stopping you? If something is stopping you, it's a good thing to question it. And usually we end up with a handful of very sacred values for ourselves, right? The rest is are things that are could be called opinions. This is how we should act or do or say or whatever it is, right?
And one question that I love to to allow people to ponder is, are what you are doing, is it your dream and your passion, or is it
Good,
someone else's?
good one. Yes,
Because and that also, was one of the things that we learned in the four agreements, that we are given and fed everybody else's dreams and everybody else's opinion on how we should do things. And if we did not have the resilience to say, this isn't my dream at some point, and start dreaming your own dream, humanity would have never evolved. If someone had not stepped out of the conformity of what everybody else was thinking, we wouldn't have airplanes. We wouldn't have the things that we have. So, allowing yourself to dream your dream and giving yourself the value and the courage to do it, this is how you evolve.
yes. And staying curious, being curious, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I love it in the awe of children, how they're mesmerized, and more you get, I don't know, in some countries they figure that little person, they're going to create that person to be an Einstein or a beauty queen or this or that. when you deprive that child of learning in the way that they came in to learn, as I said before, you take away their ability to adapt. And and I see it, people get frustrated. Well, he's not listening to me. No, that toddler is not listening to you because all of their focus is on what they're trying to evolve into. And I watched this, the determination. My little granddaughter was learning to step off the porch. It had a lip about like this. And she would stand there and then she would step off and readjust herself. She immediately got back on. And I watched her and she kept doing this over and over and over. And then there came the aha moment. Well, okay, I've conquered that. And this is the gift that we need to give ourselves is to keep
Exactly.
moving.
Because your granddaughter would never say to herself as an infant trying to learn this and getting her thing going, she would never have said to herself, I failed 10 times,
Uh-uh.
so I'm
No,
going to quit. No,
no, because that is not in their vocabulary. So why is it in our vocabulary?
good question. I love that question.
Yes,
Maybe we have been taught to keep that in our vocabulary.
we have
Yes,
fear, doubt, low self-esteem. Oh yeah, I got big doses of it lovingly, very lovingly. I mean, it wasn't done to make me a bad person. They thought that that's how they were protecting me. And you know, guess what?
it's a little bit like um, gather yourself. Um, don't think that you are too much a little bit, but not in a nasty way, right?
Exactly.
But try fit in. Don't
Yes.
stand out there. Be someone, adapt yourself into the framework.
Yeah, the false concept of pride. Uh, pride that is putting other people down is how I refer to as that person is being proud and being egotistical and so forth. But having the faith and the courage and the determination within yourself, that is that is loving yourself. And that doesn't say that uh, well, I can step off the step better than you can, da 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 da. No, that is, wow, I conquered this because it is what you are conquering for your evolution. You can't evolve for
Exactly.
someone else.
No. And you can't compare yourself to someone else either, because another kicker here is that because we are unique, we have our own unique way of accomplishing things for
Exactly.
ourselves.
Yes.
So I can't compare myself to you and say that I'm going to do exactly as Karina been doing. That's going to bring me.
Oh, no,
I have
please
my
don't.
way and you have your way, right? Because I
Exactly.
think that that's also we have been taught to compare ourselves, and we have grades when we accomplish things. That's not good, that's better. All of those things we are being taught, right? So we are being fit into um, some sort of system, right?
Yes. And going back uh, to the four agreements, I would never evolve having met you if I started comparing your expertise in taking these words and putting them into this beautiful order. Because
Oh,
when I write, my method is write story. And I write story, and you have the ability to take that story and put it into like outline and to make it coherent and to make it logical in step. But if I sat around going, well, she's better than I am, I'm not going to do this anymore because she, no,
I'm not, but we
I'm
are a
yes, we
dream team because you give me your thing, and I try to very, very carefully work on that part, right? not
And
to
you do.
change.
And when I read what you have taken from something I said, you'll take one of my little quotes, and I'm going, wow, she gets that, and she has made it so simple that someone else can read it and understand those little words that I said. And I am in awe to be in this kind of a evolution that we're having, because it really did start as that. We just back and forth, and then all of a sudden, uh, it's evolving into this incredible, exciting thing that we do.
I saw you and I said, there she is.
And I
But
said,
you know,
I'll
it is
talk if you don't look at me.
okay. But it is interesting, and we can always, it's about expanding ourselves as well. Sometimes it's going to be small steps, other times we take a big leap, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But
And
it's wonderful. And, this world also, because so many things are happening, we have so many opportunities and possibilities in our world, right? Using them to our advantage, no advantage, not letting us be used by them, right?
exactly.
There's a difference.
Exactly. I mean, I love the fact that when I use a shovel, it gets that dirt up. But I would certainly hate for that shovel to start throwing dirt in my face. So, you know, it's a tool for me to use, and not I don't have to become the shovel in order to be able to accomplish what I want. And this time that we're living in right now, with all of the technology and all of the uh, ideas that humans are not perfect enough, we haven't even really completely evolved to the magnificent beings that we are. And we need to be aware that by stopping that process, it's like me interrupting my daughter and my granddaughter. And then she would never have the confidence to step off a step because I interrupted her way of learning. And the potential of the human being is beyond words. We can literally heal everything in our body without the assist of anything that man has made, if we take the time and if we love ourselves enough to do it, and we have the tenacity and the
Yeah, we need
stubbornness
tenacity.
to
Yes,
not say, well, that's going to take a long time, so I'm not going to do it, or that's going to take effort. I'm just going to have someone put a chip in my brain. Well, the question is, who's the person that manages the chip?
exactly.
I, that shovel's going to come up and hit you right in the arse, you know?
Yes,
You know?
because it's not going to be obviously you who are managing that, right? So
Correct.
that means that you leave a lot of things in the hands of others. And I think that that is something to really think about. It's serious.
Yes. And I'm enjoying the way that we are evolving spiritually. Uh, Actually, we are gathering the connection that our ancestors had with the natural world, and seeing the beauty within them, and understanding that we are just part of something greater. And defined religions have a tendency to isolate people and say, if you don't wear this, if you don't look like this, if you don't speak this, you can't be a part of our community. And they're telling people that you're separate from God. And when you evolve spiritually, you understand that you are, in essence, that very spark of God. No, I am not
Exactly.
God, but I am the spark of God. I am a cell within the whole being. And it's beautiful that people are coming back to the awareness that they're not separated.
I think that everything, coming back to the worldly conventions again, right? That are teaching us so many things, not to think that we are anything, first of all, not
Right.
to think that we are just a small something, right? Not sticking our nose out or not really believing, because I'm not going to talk bad about religions, but I have a really hard time. I didn't grow up in a family who were religious in any sense, right? It doesn't mean that they were bad. They were more on the spiritual end, and also connected to their time. So my grandmother, for instance, she was very good at reading people and reading cards and stuff of that nature, but she didn't know how to manage because of the time. So we are living in great times right now
Yes.
because we can actually expand and express ourselves. That's
Correct.
beautiful. And
And
also having a connection with the world at large.
correct. And understanding that we do have that connection. And as you said, living in a time where we can try something on and see if it fits. And this is a beautiful thing that we are living in this time where evolution has gotten to the point where it says, now we're going to expand. I mean, we've learned how to survive, we've learned how to make fire, we've learned how to fly, we can swim with the fishes. So let's go again back into that connection with ourself. And this was not allowed in in times past. Anything that you and I are doing, we would have been burned at the stake.
Yeah.
So, so I'm glad that the human being has evolved to the point where it says, "Well, we're no longer threatened by you," and that's interesting. And you do your thing, and be happy. And this is good, but this is social evolution.
Yeah, it is. And my thinking about religions, and I think all of them, there are parts in there that are pieces of the puzzle, but there are
Exactly.
also a lot of things that says I'm so independent and stubborn, tenacious. So if you say to me, if I'm not doing any bad deed or anything, but I wouldn't intentionally, right? So you can't do that. And I would say, says who? Because when my mother was a child, her grandmother said to her, you can't whistle because that is a sin, and
Oh,
you can't play cards. That is another sin. Says who?
well, I was reared by a grandmother that said you can't go swimming if there are boys there, and you can't dance because those are sins. And it's like I was born to dance, and it's like, okay, now that I'm a wise ass, see, I could go back and I could look in the good book, and I said, look, it says dancing is okay. you know.
Yeah. You know, I grew up with my great grandmother. She was born in the late 1896, I think. Correct. 95 or 96. So I experienced values from the 1800s. I was born in the 1900s and I grew up. And I've lived in the 2000, right?
Yep.
And I see that as a blessing. But my family, my great grandmother, she was very modern and open-minded. And my grandmother too, both of my grandmothers, my mom and my dad, maybe they were a little bit young when I was born, but that's another story, right? Um, But I didn't have anyone telling me ever, and even my grandpa, no one ever told me you can't do that. I mean, from my family. So I had that support, and I have a big mouth today still because I always say, okay, if someone else can do that, well, I can do that too.
I can too.
Yeah, I can.
Exactly. And my ability to say I can do it has gotten me through a very long lifetime. It's if I hadn't had that stubbornness, I wouldn't have been able to overcome the challenges that I chose in my life. You know, that I things that I needed to try on and see if they fit, because
Mm.
it has given me such a dynamic uh, experience that I am able to be of assistance to others. And some of the experiences that people have, especially from other countries, theirs are so much more dynamic and so much more earth shaking than anything that I could conceive. But what I needed, it was provided for me. What they apparently needed was provided for them. And I see such beautiful adaptation of people's circumstances. And this is what evolution is
Yeah,
taking what we're given and adapting, and not necessarily just saying, well, this is right and I'm going to go this way, but saying I have a choice. I can either choose this or choose that.
yeah,
And this is the beauty of it. And people that say, well, I'll never change, how can they live in the world? I mean, we have 4 seasons, most of us
yeah,
do. We don't. We have 2 seasons. We have hot and hotter. And however, that is part of the moving gently into something, letting go
yeah.
of the past and being ready to open for the others. And that's an
Exactly.
interesting thing, because if the leaves did not fall off the tree, there would be no room for the young leaves to come out.
Exactly. And everything, if we talk about energy, and everything is energy, energy is in constant movement,
Movement
constant.
all the time.
Yeah, yeah, never stops. So
I
why
mean,
would I stop myself? Why?
exactly. And because we can't see that the table that my computer is sitting on, we think it's solid. But if you were to look at it atomically, all those atoms are moving. That's why things get old. That's why rust happens. That's why the body kind of goes, I'm not doing that anymore. Um, but this is a process. But it does not have to be a negative. Uh, well, it does alter your life, but it doesn't have to stop you in your tracks if you
Mm.
don't take it personally.
Exactly. We are continuously coming back to the four agreements,
Well,
aren't we?
they're very much into the things that we just assume that are correct, and then we take them personally, and then it disallows us from evolving. How about that for a
Exactly.
mouthful?
That was, I love that. So the four agreements, actually, we made a series. I can state that again. We made a series, a four-part series. We took the four first ones, right? The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. The second one is don't make assumptions. The third one is, I forgot that, sorry.
Don't take it personally.
Yes, don't take it personally. And the last one, always do your best. But there are layers and there are ways of, thinking about that. these four agreements are a wonderful foundation for growth and looking
Mhm.
into yourself, paying attention to yourself. What do you say? How do you act? How do you react? What do you do? How are you living your life? And I love that part because that is the key for us to grow spiritually. We need to look at ourselves and feel comfortable loving ourselves, but also, okay, I did this, and not punishing ourselves, but say, okay, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to be stubborn or tenacious, and I'm going to pay attention to how I express myself, what I say, or if I take things personally or whatever it is, or if I'm beating myself up because I think I always need to be an ace to do everything best of everyone. But that's not what it's about doing your best, right? Because
Exactly.
we have different energy each and every day, right? So
Correct.
I think that this brings us into, I'm going to put your contact information up here. So Corrine here is actually doing two wonderful workshops. Plus, she has something else she's doing every Tuesday, a heart-centered meditation. But now she's going to do the Four Agreements workshop on February 23rd, a couples play date. You could say that another topic would be take your relationship from fine to fantastic. That's
Uh-huh.
going to be on March 2nd. And everything is going to take place and happen in Mesa, Arizona. This is a wonderful opportunity to actually dig into yourself, self-discovery with the four agreements, and reuniting and reconnecting, rebonding with your partner. The couples play date is for committed relationships, right? People who are already in a relationship. It's not about finding someone. It's about
Yes,
reconnecting with each other and finding who you are at this specific wonderful moment in time, right?
correct.
So, Four Agreements workshop on February 23rd and couples playdate on March 2nd. And you find Kareen at liquidenergyhealing.com. You can call her at 480-250-1815 or email her at lqenergy@yahoo.com. And of course, you can read more about Kareen at angelplaceonearth.com/Kareen Mooney. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. I really do have, this is my passion, is being able to have had the opportunity to be around so many wonderful teachers that opened up little pieces of my awareness and being able to assimilate it and being able to allow people to utilize these in a daily living, because we've all read wonderful books and we all have the aspirations of someday I'll this. But when you learn how to incorporate them in your daily life, uh, it becomes really fun, people, because you are constantly giving opportunities to uh,
Yes, you are.
to have this show up and say, "Oh, did we make an assumption today, and now you can't find what you need? Oh, did you take that personally, or uh, your best today is runny eyes, so that's okay. You just put your glasses on and hope nobody sees them." But that's how we do it. We live with these guidelines, and they're wonderful
Yeah.
and they're funny, and you know.
And this is actually very, very funny because I'm sorry if anybody is hearing the drilling. Someone decided,
No,
assumed
no, we
this is
can't.
a good time to do drill. Okay.
Yeah.
And I assumed that we would be undisturbed, right? But anyway, I
Yes.
don't think it's too bad.
No, well, I can't hear it, but of course
Good.
I'm what, 32,000 miles away from you.
sometimes the microphones on the computers are picking that up very, very heavily. But
Right.
anyway, I'm not so happy it doesn't. But anyway, you know, there's no more exciting journey than to walk the path of evolution, the personal one,
Mhm.
and see the evolution of the world, see the evolution of others around you, see the evolution of your family. And
Yeah.
sometimes not, right? Because sometimes people do decide they don't want to evolve and they want to remain where they are. And you know, there's no judgment in that either. But
No.
once you start and you kick off the journey for yourself, it's like you can't really, because you're curious, you want to know what's going to be next, what's coming.
Exactly. Exactly. It's when you start writing or when you start doing art, uh, even when you're watching something that you've never seen before, and you go, "Oh, oh," and it draws you in because of the curiosity. But what a wonderful gift! And the old connotations of when people said curiosity kills the cat, and then the facts brought him back, so that's okay. But if humans had not been curious, they would have never evolved. They would have
No,
never looked beyond the limitations of what they were seeing at that time. And uh, I just think this journey that we're on is so amazing, and so much is there again with the technology we have. When it is used to connect us,
yeah,
really connect us, I think that's wonderful. And they are understanding that, for instance, the roots in a tree are so interconnected, and they will actually communicate with each other.
yeah,
Mushrooms have a sound that they say to each other, but it's a sound we don't hear. But now they're learning how to put an apparatus in that environment so they can hear the sounds. And if you could hear nature,
yeah.
really, what a different respect we would have. And I just saw on Facebook the other day this person that was interviewing all these different tribes. And there was a tribe many, many, many years ago. And they asked this man, could he hear the stars? He says, what do you mean? I see the stars. No, can you hear them? They couldn't understand that he did not have the ability to hear the stars. We've lost that
Yeah.
along the way. And I'm hoping that as we evolve, we will evolve into this beautiful organism that hears and sees and appreciates all that we have been given.
That starts to make use of all our abilities because we use only a fraction
Yes, we
of
do.
our abilities. And I think, you know, I'm the person, I love technology. I can't really say that I don't. I love technology. I always did.
Yes,
But I'm not, you know, that I'm also a human being. So I also want the natural nature, right? Connecting to nature, the natural things,
exactly.
connecting to people, meeting people, talking to them in person, having that interaction.
Touching.
And I think yeah, touching. And I think I said this multiple times. I couldn't help myself. I stepped down into the sub here in Stockholm, and I saw all these people with their phones, no connection between anyone. They didn't see each other, right?
Exactly.
I'm not against using a phone, but hey, we're out here. There are other people here. Let's talk to each other. Let's say something. Let's connect. And I couldn't
Exactly.
help myself, but I said, oh, there's nobody home here.
And that's actually the truth, because they're so engaged, and also that takes them out of the present moment. And we
Yes,
talked about that because they're living somewhere else. They're not living and experiencing what is happening right now. And
exactly.
the now moment is gone the minute we thought about it.
And the
So
now moment is here for our personal evolution. If we're not
exactly,
here and now, how can we evolve? Because we evolved from this moment.
exactly. And what we have gleaned in this moment. And if we haven't taken the time uh, to be part of what's around us, to be able to absorb what's around us, and to be able to utilize what's around us, then we are not evolving. We're just existing.
Yeah. I grew up in a time when you were supposed to just adapt, right, to everything. You didn't question. As a small child, I didn't actually question things, but I didn't have unsupportive surroundings either, right?
Uh-huh.
But then I started to think, okay, hey, something is off here. Something is not because what's happening all around.
Yeah,
And I think that it has been an explosion of good things coming,
it has.
but
Yeah.
we have been adapting everything to everything. I mean, the evolution of the world, which is great to have, right? But it's not going to be us serving that. It's going to be that thing serving us,
Yes.
right?
And there's a difference between conforming and just falling in line and being robotic and to having the tools to have that other awareness of things. I mean, as with you, I love the beautiful things that so many, and especially the young people, are coming up with in ways of navigating through our world and also cleaning up the mess that we have left them. And
Yes.
maybe that was part of the evolution also, is to ignite their wisdom and finding a better way for us to get back to what is real. So it's to condemn something, but conformity is something that stifles the soul.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes now I'm talking about countries and global and stuff of that nature. Sometimes we are biting ourselves in the tail. If that's the saying we have, I don't know if you
Yeah,
have
it
that
is.
where you're
Yeah.
at. Um, because societies and the systems have grown so big, so many departments all over the place. I mean, the structure of it, right? So
Yes.
one the right hand doesn't really know what the left hand is doing, right?
Correct.
So that as humans, maybe, sometimes we also need to have things that are simple, like natural things, nature, doing things in a way that have been done for a very long time, because not to forget that. So
Yes.
a modern person today um, may not know how to deal with certain things because they have grown out of it so much. Does that make sense?
Yes. Something came to my mind. We are living in a society of disconnected connection
Yeah,
because we think we're connecting and we get bits and pieces of information, but we have disconnected to our humanness and we have disconnected to the fact that sharing this with another Homo sapien is more important than just sharing it on the Facebook, having
mm,
touching contact, eye contact, reading the bodies, and everything else. We are completely disconnected, but it's given to us that we think we're connected.
yeah, exactly. And you know, something simple, if the electricity goes out, how can I, if I'm going to be there maybe a few days, how can I actually cope with that, right? I think
Exactly.
today there's a lot of people who doesn't really know. I don't say everyone, because we are so presented with things that we have become very comfortable with our
Exactly.
way of living, and we have so many things. It's so beautiful, but don't forget that we are human beings.
Exactly. And the resilience that you and I had when we were disconnected from the internet uh,
Yeah,
a couple of weeks ago, uh, but we didn't take it personally. Somebody's trying to be mean to us. We said, okay, how do we handle this? And we evolved because we have the ability to adapt,
yeah,
and it worked out. But as you said, there are many, 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 many people that can't function if the very basic things have been removed from
yeah,
them.
yeah,
And but there again, we're in a society that wants to build dependency because then they will hold those things precious and do anything in the world to keep those things going because they don't know how to strike a match and light a fire
yeah.
or to
I have, yeah, I have, I don't have friends, but I have colleagues that didn't know how to cook a fish. I mean, a real fish when you buy
real
the
fish.
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they said, okay, no, I prefer the square ones in the freezer, right? Because they didn't know how to do that. I'm not judging when I'm saying that, but it's a
Exactly.
sign of how we are distancing ourselves from things that are actually natural.
And then when you do that, it gives society an opportunity to say, well, what used to be the norm of good manners is to insult people. And that's supposed to be okay because that's just the way it is. And there are times when we need to realize that there again, that insult that people are doing, that's the first agreement of not being impeccable with their words and just leaving a layer of doubt in that person's mind
Yeah,
that and degrading
yeah. And
the beauty.
justifying doing that.
Exactly.
Justify, yeah, exactly. And that's not very nice, is it?
And
No,
but it's there again. Evolution comes in all forms, and we've evolved to the point where this is normal. And seeing, blood and guts, it's like when 9/11 happened. People are watching this on television thinking it's a new video game that's coming out because they couldn't rationalize that that could actually be happening. We're so numbed to it by seeing all of the horrific
yeah,
things that happen. And this is sad because people are dehumanizing some of the things that we see. And you know I'm going back to that being human. What can I say?
yeah, yes. I know. No, I think that it's something to really think about. So, of course, there's a point when we adjust to certain things because we learn more, we evolve, right?
Correct.
Evolving is a part of adjusting as well to new things, right? But not to the expense of our humanity.
Exactly. And there again we go back to the simple things, finding a way to have your self-love, utilizing the four agreements, which teaches you to have love of self and self-mastery, and understanding that by being quiet in meditation allows you to communicate on a higher level than your cell phone, because you're communicating with the force of the energy itself, the
Yes.
essence of where we came from, the stars. So all of these things, this is what is part of the evolution is, but you don't throw out the things that are going to keep you really connected by,
No.
you know, oh
Exactly.
wow. Yeah.
Wow. I it's always interesting, and I think that it because this is connected to the personal journey, the personal evolution, the world's evolution, your country's evolution, everything. Um, so it's really intriguing. It's something I really hope that we did bring something to think about, feel into,
Yes,
um, be inspired by, because it may sound sometimes very easy, but because we are humans, this is what we need to pay attention to. It's not something fluffy out there. It's here, in here.
exactly.
The way to peace and freedom is coming from here, and starting to use our human abilities to grow them and expand them. And that is how we can evolve, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And we are on a cusp of really stepping into our true potential.
Yeah,
And
we are.
I encourage everybody to maybe put down the technology for just a little while and get reconnected with who you are as a live, living, tactile, feeling, loving person. And it doesn't have to be 24/7, just like it doesn't have to be 24/7 on the technology. Find that balance.
Yes.
Find that, harmony, and that yin and the yang.
Yes.
It's the balance.
It is a balance, right? So I'm going to promote your workshops again. So Miss Corrine here is going to have workshops in Mesa, Arizona. So if you are in that area, she's going to have the Four Agreements workshop on February 23rd, a couples play date, or you could say, take your relationship from fine to fantastic. It is for committed relationships, right?
Uh-huh.
That's going to be on March 2nd. And as I said, everything happens in Mesa, Arizona. So get your spot, small classes and wonderful workshops. It's going to give a lot. It's going to be plenty of time and something to take with you on your journey forward, right? You can find Corrine. I'm going to find your stuff here. You can find Corrine at liquidenergyhealing.com, or you can call her at 480-250-1815, or why not email at lqenergy@yahoo.com. Okay. So how do you feel? Do you think that we are ready to wrap it up?
Well, I think we have. I know you've given me food for thought, and I hope I've given you food for thought. So
A lot, a lot.
hopefully we've planted a lot of seeds, and people can cultivate it and weed it and smoke it, whatever.
So then, thank you everyone. And you have been watching Cosmic Sis-Stars show with Anne and Corrine, discussing the era of evolution, navigating the times of transformation, both personal, worldly, globally, environmentally also.
Yes.
I think we covered most of it. And you can find all past episodes from us at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. Our next upcoming show here on Cosmic Guardians is going to be with Cosmic Sis-Stars. It's going to be next Wednesday, February 26th. with me and Corinne discussing personal responsibility and cosmic creation, how our choices shape the universe. I think that's going to be a smashing one as well, right? It's like
Yes.
intuitive, where everything is falling to place, like puzzles, puzzle pieces. It's kind of funny, but that's how it works when you are connected. And we go live every Wednesday with the Cosmic Sis-Stars show on Cosmic Guardians. You can connect with us, find upcoming shows, past episodes, read articles, and more at angelplaceonearth.com/Cosmic Guardians. And if you want to see upcoming and past shows, you can go to angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming-past. And I say thank you for watching us today, Cosmic Sis-Stars show, and see you next week. Love, light, peace, and joy to all of you.
And I add laughter.
Bye.
Bye.